you have been an active contributor for many companies in B2B domain, right? Uh, how would you recommend a B2B company which is active in the market, acquiring customers and all, how they should fare against competition, right? And especially if they are uh, the market is enterprise market, or they are playing in enterprise category of segment. So how to beat competition, how to do that competitor analysis, and how to really fare against a competitor, especially in the enterprise category.
Yeah, there's a lot to that question.
Okay.
So being in the software space, we all know that sometimes we are competing against hundreds,
Yeah.
but there's always a few that we're competing against
Mm-hmm.
that we put on our chart, and we show here's all our features, and we put check marks next to every single thing that of all those features for us, and then we put some check marks next to everybody else. And guess what? They've got
Yeah.
the same chart, and
Mm-hmm.
they've got check marks next to everything for them, and only a few for you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yes.
Those ridiculous charts. Well, I think the key here is it goes back to the concept of mediocrity. So
Okay.
when I was a kid, um, a gentleman who I was friends, he's a family friend of ours. He was a blind guy, and he was the most amazing networker ever.
Oh.
And I was hanging out with him one day. I had just bought a car, and or I was in the market for a new car, and I said to him, "Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a car." And he said, "Oh, go see so and so over at the dealership, and he'll sell you a car. That's the guy to see." And I'll call him and I'll tell him that you're coming. And so I did, and I had a bad experience.
Oh.
He picked up the phone and he tore them a new one, because when he sends people to them, he wants to make sure they get experience. Now, I mentioned a great experience before. And then he said something to me that I'll never forget. And I want you guys to all think about this. And if you want to tweet it, exit, feel free. Don't
Okay.
expect perfection from a world of mediocrity, is what he
Got
said
it.
to me. I carried that with me my whole life. Don't expect perfection from a world of mediocrity. And what he was saying is, yeah, the world's a pretty mediocre place. At least here in the U.S. it is. I don't know in India if it's expected that the service that you get is going to be phenomenal, because here in the U.S. it's terrible.
I think it's everywhere the same. Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah.
if you think about it, all you got to do is be a little better than mediocre,
Got
and you're
it.
already ahead of the pack. So
Got
how
it.
do you be a little bit better than mediocre? Goes back to train your people, get the best people, make sure you have the right product, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the first piece.
Yep.
The second piece is differentiation.
Okay. Okay.
We all know, hey, what's your differential advantage? Oh, our differential advantage is X. And that differential advantage is usually communicated as a feature.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about this a little bit more in the session. But that feature speak will kill you. It's got to be solutions oriented, and you want to make sure that your differentiation is very clear, very easy to understand, and you need to prove it. You need to show other customers where your differentiation really came out or comes out, because new customers they're looking at lots of different products, lots of different solutions, and you got to be different. And then again, make sure that journey is so buttoned up that the customer can't not buy you, because buying you means that they're not going to be able to continue this journey. And I will tell you, we all know this. The way you're taken through the sales process is a reflection of how it's going to feel and be after you're a customer for years and years.
Okay.
If the sales process was poor,
Mm-hmm.
so is working with this company for the next 2, 3, or 4 years. It's going to be terrible. So you got to get it buttoned up. And again, it's operations. A lot of tech startups, they get going, but they don't have a COO. And I think a COO is one of the most critical components or roles of a startup. Usually the founder says, yeah, I'll be COO. But it's very important that you focus on your operation. And again, that customer journey and differentiation. So a little bit of a long answer, but we could talk about that one all day long, Bobby.
Yeah. No, great. This is great. Actually, I'm reflecting upon what you talked about, right? Like many. I personally feel this, Dan. Right? Like many companies ignore operations as a function. I think that's very important to get things going and keep everything intact and stitched. This is a very good takeaway.